Hello, hello, my dear friends, beautiful, soulful humans inside Just Channel. Welcome to day number 1. We are in for a journey today, and I am so freaking excited to be here. This is beautiful. So I want to welcome you here. I have tagged some of my friends who also happen to be my friends, who also happen to be part of this program. So if you did not get tagged, this is just how Facebook is. I'm only allowed to tag 15 people. And at this point, we have 81 person in this beautiful masterclass. So I am beyond grateful. I am so humbled, so honored, so taken aback by your generosity of your time and how you decide to spend it and how you're willing to invest it in yourself, how you're willing to show up, how you're willing to do this work, how you're willing to believe in yourself, how you're willing to believe and trust and open and depend on your channel. I'm really impressed. I'm really humbled, and I'm very grateful for each and every one of you here. Lindsay, my love, hello, welcome. Yes. I'm not sure I can take any more excitement today. It's late here. Oh, goodness. Lindsay was in for a tarot module that dropped today. And there's another one coming, but she'll be long asleep by the time that happens because she's in a different time zone. Hello, Nicole. Hello, Tanya. I'm so excited to see you ladies here. I'm so excited to be here. We have quite a ride ahead of us. And I have a little bit of a structure today. Believe it or not, I am going to stay on track because we have a lot to cover. So we're going to get right in. Let me make sure that I have my notes. Okay. Just so that they are around. So the first thing that I want to drop you into today as we get started with day 1, Module 1, D. Randall, good to see you, my love. Happy to be here for this masterclass. I'm so happy that you're here. I'm so excited that you're here. I'm so grateful for you being here. I mean it. Okay, so I'm going to drop you right into the experience, right into the it factor, okay? So imagine you're running late. You're running late. There is an exam, there is a job interview, there is something stressful, and you're not prepared. You woke up 5 minutes ago. You look at the time, you're like, I gotta be there in 20. And you lay in bed for a few extra seconds and you're like, I really don't want to go at all. I am not prepared. I don't have my notes. I didn't do the prep work. I didn't do the homework. I didn't do the research on the company. I didn't do the study for this test. I have no ideas. I have no answers. I have no idea what's going to happen, and it's going to suck because I'm not prepared. And I just want to lay in bed. And you lay there for a few extra minutes. And the intensity, the anxiety is growing, and you're like, you know what? I can't just not go. I gotta go. I'm screwed. I gotta go, but I'm screwed. But I gotta go. So you get up, you scramble, you run, you're like thinking, why did I not study? Why did I not do the work? Why did I not do the research? Oh my goodness, why did I drink last night? Why did I go out with my friends? Why did I stay up super long? Why? Why do I always do this to myself? Why do I always sabotage myself? And you run to the mirror and you're like, So what do you do? Put a little bit of makeup on. If you're a woman, if you're a guy, throw some clothes on, make yourself look presentable, right? You put something on real quick, you're like, okay, you know what? I'm screwed. I'm not prepared for this test, for this interview. I'm not prepared, and I have no answers, and I'm just going to show up, and I'm going to be aware that it is what it is. This is what's happening, okay? I'm just going to go for it. So you run, you scramble, you put some makeup on. You put a dress on, okay? You run. You get into your car, you drive, you get on the bus, you ride the bus, whatever it is, you show up. And there's this moment where you're like a few minutes behind already. And you're standing at the door to the exam or the meeting, the interview, and you catch your breath in that one moment. You go like, here we go. Here we go. Okay, I'm ready. I'm screwed, but I'm ready. And you open the door and you walk in. White light. What happens? It doesn't matter what happens. You've been through this situation. And so have I, in many different retrospects. You've been through the situation. Why am I telling you the situation? What does this have to do with channeling? This is how showing up feels. This is how showing up feels. You know why? Because you've been trained to feel like this about showing up. Because in real life, or what you've been taught as real life, meaning school, meaning work, a date with someone, you've been taught that you gotta be prepared or else you get an F. If you're not ready for the test, you're gonna fail it. You have no answers, you don't know the answers, you're gonna fail it. You're not ready for the interview, you didn't do your research, you're probably gonna not feel so confident. You're probably gonna mumble, stumble, say crazy things, and then it's not gonna work. You haven't gotten ready, all the way ready for a date, well, it's probably not gonna work. You're already late, you gotta show up, but you don't have the answers, you're gonna fail. You're gonna show up, and then you're gonna fail. You're gonna show up, and then you're going to fail. Now, a lot of us, myself included, in situations where this can be avoided, we would rather not show up at all. We would rather not even go to the test that you're gonna get an F on. What's the point? You might as well just skip the class and get an F, right? The interview that you're not prepared, why even go there? You didn't do the research, you didn't sleep enough hours, you didn't do the prep work, you self-sabotaged, why even go? It's not gonna work. The date, you didn't do all the self-care rituals, you didn't journal all the things, and you didn't do all the things, and you didn't do all the things you wanted to do to yourself through a spa or whatever, you're not even gonna go. What's the point? He's not gonna like you. You're not ready. This is not how it is in reality. I'm taking you through this very stressful process of showing up even though you don't have the answers, because that's how real life is you don't have the answers. And yes, sometimes you can prepare, but sometimes you can't. Sometimes you can do the homework, but sometimes you don't know what to study. Sometimes you can do the research, but sometimes what to research? There is no foundation to what it is that you're about to do. Sometimes you want to do the self-care and the getting ready, but what if you just meet the person and there they are, right there, right? You didn't do any prep work, it's right there. In real life, showing up is not something you only get to do when you're ready. Showing up is something that you get to do no matter what. Now, this is life in general. Channeling is exactly this way. Except channeling, unlike the school, the work, your perception of dating, societal perception of what it's like to go on the first date, right, has no room. Because there is no way to know the answers. There is no way to prepare. Hey, Sophia, good to see you. There is no way to study in advance. There is no way to know because you don't know. It's just going to happen. So I'm taking you through this pretty stressful experience of you're running late, you don't have the answers, you still have to show up, you still show up. How do you bring yourself to show up when you don't have the answers, when you already know that you just don't know? You get your human to feel as good as possible. So when you're running late, on some days, when you're running late, when you don't have the answers, you might actually take that 10 minutes, of which the other 10 you will spend. 10 minutes you'll spend on makeup, 10 minutes you'll spend on driving. You'll take that 10 minutes, oftentimes, to put your face on. If you're a guy, to put some clothes on that feel presentable. Why? Because your human already feels like something's off. So the human is like, okay, at least I'm gonna look all right. At least I'm gonna look okay through this. I'm gonna show up. I'm gonna look okay. I got this. I'm okay. Okay. Let's go and fail like champs, right? Let's go and blow this interview up. Let's go and fail that test because there is no time to study, but I'll show up. It's all right. I'll survive this. This is it right there. This willingness to show up, even though you don't have the answers, it's been punished by failure. It's been punished by what society calls failure. You don't have the answers, you're screwed. You don't know the answers to the test, you didn't study, you get an F. You are not prepared for the first date experience, well, it doesn't go well. You're not prepared for the job interview because you didn't do the research, well, now you're going to look like a fool. Structured societal life punishes showing up unprepared because you're supposed to be. But that's not the way it really is in life. In work, yes, maybe. When you can research a company, yes, you can have an advantage. If you can work with a coach that will prepare you for that interview, that even better, okay? But what are the chances? For school, you can study and sometimes you just don't. And when you don't, you get punished for not studying, for not being prepared, for not being ready. You had the homework in advance. You could have done the homework. You should have done the homework. You didn't. Well, you get enough. But if you show up to get that F, to show up to the interview no matter what, show up to the date no matter what, even though you're not prepared, you've got the first part already of this masterclass, the things that we went over yesterday. You've got the first part. Be willing to show up no matter what. With channeling, though, there is no punishment. With channeling, the only way to show up is not knowing the answers. Because you gotta know in advance that you don't know anything. In fact, channeling works when you're willing to realize the answers I have, I'm not gonna use them. The things I know or think I know, I'm not gonna use that. The things that I thought I knew and didn't, and then I'm gonna set all of this aside because I don't have anything. I am willing to show up and be empty. I'm willing to show up and see how it goes. There is no punishment. There is no F. There is no, you didn't pass the interview for this job. There is no, you suck on the first date. There is just channeling. And channeling comes through when you show up. Now, if you're the type of person who shows up, even though you're not prepared for the test, you got this. If you would have showed up to that job interview and just wing it, decide to just wing it, you got this. If you decide to go to a date and you're like, I don't even know what he looks like, but I'm going to check it out, just wing it, see where it goes, see what happens, you got this. If you're the type of person where like, I'm not prepared, I don't have the answers, I'd rather not even go, we got to work on this. You got to work on this. And you got to work on this and recognize that although for a test or for a job interview or for a date or for other structured contexts like this, you can be unprepared, but for channeling, you can't be unprepared because the point is that you aren't. And it comes through. It's not something you know. It's not something you understand. It's not something that you have the answers for already. It's not something that you think up. It's not something that you figure out. It's something that you show up for. And here's the first formula of this day one. And if you got your journal, write it down. And if you don't, go grab one, write it down. If you don't have a journal, grab a piece of paper. If you don't have a piece of paper, grab a device and take notes, okay? Because seriously, this is a free masterclass. The value you get out of this depends on how seriously you take this. If you want to learn how to channel through just this masterclass alone, you got to show up like you mean it. Okay, so grab the notes, whatever form, write this down. We're going into formulas, okay? Formula number 1 today. The more you show up, the more you receive. The more I show up, the more I receive. Number 1, the more I show up, the more I receive. Okay, write that down. So that's 1. Showing up. I want to tell you a little story, a little personal story. This masterclass is channeled, but here comes my story. Here's when, hint for module number 3, here's when I'm being a mentor, because this is my story. My story is, I was in college. I went to two-year college, completed that with outstanding achievements, very proud of that. And then I went to a 4-year college and I dropped out of that one. But before I did, I was sleeping one night and I had this dream, this man that I was kind of infatuated with, this mysterious character who lived in a different place, very far away, and we would just, exchange letters every now and then. And I had this dream about him, like it was so vivid. And I wrote him a letter. I was like, I had a dream about you. Just, wow. It was just like fall leaves, conversations, coffee. It was like very interesting, you know. I can't remember what we were talking about, but it was like such a moody dream. I wanted to share it. So I wrote him a letter, and I had a test coming up. A test that defines the rest of your grade kind of test. The rest of the semester. Like how you do there is basically what you're going to get at the end. Unless it's like such a huge contrast, but it's pretty much determines a lot of things. And I was not prepared. I was actually at the time very deeply depressed. And so I wasn't capable. And not only that, I wasn't interested. And so I had this test coming up. And the morning that I wrote the letter, the night that I saw the dream, was the night before the test. So I woke up and I was like, okay, I have this test coming up. There is no point of cramming at this point because like there's nothing I can possibly learn in the next 3 hours. And it's like a whole half of semester worth of studies, which I have not been showing up for. So I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to go. Maybe I'll just guess the correct answers. That works in channeling. That works really well. In tests, especially math tests, not so much, no. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to go. I'm just going to go. And so what I did was I put a face on. I wore this dress, just looking like bomb, just like really, really felt it, like just got this look. Went to the test in like red lipstick. Not this, I was wearing like a black lace dress, like overly dramatic. Looks like I'm going to an event, like for real. And, and I'm going and the test starts in about a few hours. Like 2 at this point, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get some lunch. Gonna get some lunch before I fail. Looking really gorgeous, gonna get some lunch and just take care of my body. That was not something I was thinking of. It was just like, okay, first face, then lunch, then test, then fail. Okay. So while I'm walking to the cafe, I get the call from the guy that I wrote the letter to, and he's like, hey, can you talk? And actually, you know what? At that point, I already had the lunch and it was like maybe 45 minutes until the test. And I'm like, I was thinking about maybe trying to cram last minute, but I haven't taken advantage of the hours leading up to the test, let alone days, let alone weeks, let alone months. So I'm like, you know what? At this point, I'm going to enjoy conversation with him. So I picked up the phone and I'm like, hey, yeah, let's talk. I got all the time in the world. And so we talked and it was a really interesting conversation. And I was like, wow, yeah, the dream and this and that. And I'm sitting there and the test is about to begin in 10 minutes. And I tell the guy, okay, you know what? I gotta go. So I get off the phone. I tell him, I got a test coming up. And he knew I was a student in college. And he was like, yeah, you got this. I know you. You probably studied like a lot. And I was like, not even going to mention that I have studied 0. I was like, yeah, it's going to be fine. It's just going to be totally great. So I hang up and I walk into this classroom. And the last thing that I remember is this white light. Like, I am here to fail this test. And I did. I failed the test because I had no answers. I had no idea what was even being asked. And shortly after that realization, I had the most earth-shattering just breakthrough where I realized I'm going to drop out. Not because I failed the test, but because I haven't been showing up to classes. I haven't been doing the work. I've been so depressed. I can't do this anymore. I'm paying for this. I'm a paying customer. I'm not just a student. I'm paying for this. And I no longer resonate with this. So I can no longer do this. And I just dropped out later on. Is this a story about me dropping out? No. Is this a story about me failing a test? No. Is this the story of showing up for the test even though you have no answers? Yes. Thanks, Michelle. I'm seeing your bubbles. Because when you show up, and Shelly, yay. When you show up and you're willing to not have any answers, and you're willing to see the ride, that's the first part. The more I show up, if you join later, we've got the first formula for today, day 1. This is the first module, official teaching module, okay? We've got good stuff from the welcome call, but this is like the first module. Hey Magali, it's good to see you. You just joined. I'm so happy that you could make it. Okay, so the first formula, write it down. Get a journal, get a piece of paper, get a device that you can type on while you're listening to me. Write the first thing down if you haven't already. Number 1, the more I show up, the more I receive. Okay. Hi, Rose. Good to see you, ladies. Okay, so the first formula is the more I show up, the more I receive. Joanne, you're like, it's all right. You can rewatch later. We're not that far off yet, believe it or not. We're through some storytelling, but the first formula is the more I show up, the more I receive. And you show up no matter what. You don't need to know the answers. In fact, you can't know the answers. You can't know what it's going to be like. You can't know what it's going to come through. You can't know what's going to happen. You don't get to know what's going to happen or what's going to come through. You channel. You just channel. The more you show up, the more you receive. Okay. So connected. So deeply connected that you're willing to just go. Now, sometimes, because it's been impacted by these controlled environments, such as dates, such as school, such as work, where you need to know the answers before you go into the meeting. You need to know your numbers before you meet with your boss. You need to know your answers before you go into a test. You need to be prepared and know things about this guy from his profile before you go on a date with him. You need to know this, or else you fail. There is no such thing in channeling. The thing is, your human still thinks that way. And yesterday we talked about how your human does not define your channel. Your channel is there no matter what. But how do you get the human to show up? A common thread is you get the human, to feel pretty good, to feel all right, to be like, okay, I might not know the answers, but what do I control? What can I control? You can put some makeup on. That can help, because that makes you feel like you're putting yourself together. That's part of the reason why I did it today. I felt really good about this module, but I wanted to demonstrate, and I wanted to demonstrate something very specific. I am really enjoying this right now because my human feels put together. I feel pretty good about that. Now, your human can also get some food. You can put yourself together. You can eat something. I like to have a cup of coffee when I channel. I really do. It helps me stay in the vibe. It helps me connect with the moment. Now, caffeine is not for everyone, but for me, I enjoy it. And when I channel, especially when I do lives and I channel, I like to have a cup of coffee around, because every time it gets a little much, I can step back and say, okay, I'm about to take a sip of my coffee and just anchor it in. So what does the human need? Does the human need a put together face? Does the human need a put together outfit? Does the human need a meal? Does the human need a bath? Does the human need a workout? All these things. You can go and do that thing, and then you show up and you just channel. But before you show up, you got to convince the human to show up. And the human might be like, well, I'm not feeling it because I don't want to fail. So I don't know. I don't think so. Okay. What does the human need in order to show up? Write that down. What does the human need in order to show up? You can just put a little asterisk and write it under formula number 1, which is the more I show up, the more I receive. Underneath, note, what does the human need in order to show up? Okay. Now let's look at the next one. Now you have showed up. Now you're ready to receive whatever you did to convince the human to do it. You did it. Now the human's like, all right, okay, I guess we'll just channel or whatever. You show up. Now, having shown up, the next formula is The more I show up, the deeper I trust. Write that down. The more I show up, the deeper I trust. Every time that you show up, no matter what, and you do whatever it takes to get your human on board with that decision, no matter what you're going through, no matter what you're feeling, no matter what you're dealing with, whether you're having an okay time showing up or whether it's like, I don't want to fail this test. I really don't. I don't want to get an F. Like, just do not want to deal with that. Whether you're feeling like that or you're feeling like, yeah, it's all right. I guess I can channel today. That's okay. Or yes, of course I'm going to channel today. I'm like so excited. So many ideas. I want to channel. Yes. Whatever you feel like. The more you show up, the more you receive. The more you receive, the deeper you trust. The deeper you trust. The more you receive, the deeper you trust. Okay, that's number 2. The more you receive, the more I receive, the deeper I trust. The more I receive, the deeper I trust. Number 2, okay? So number 2 is speaking to track record. Building a track record of showing up no matter what. You show up no matter what, you receive. The more you show up, the more you receive. The more you receive, the deeper you trust. So the deeper you trust part comes from developing a habit of showing up no matter what. Because every time that you overcome feeling like you're about to fail a test, every time that you overcome feeling like you're not good enough on a particular day because this and that and the other, the more you show up no matter what, the more the no matter what outweighs whatever is going on, the deeper you trust that you can. The deeper you trust that, yes, that's something that I get to do. It's confidence. It's a matter of track record. When you build the track record of showing up no matter what, your trust in yourself deepens. Your trust in your human does too. Even though your human does not define your channel, the more you can get the human to show up no matter what, the more you can trust the human to show up no matter what. Now, every time I show up no matter what, it's not the end. It's just another point in track record. Every time, with all the times I've showed up no matter what, every time I don't show up no matter what, I don't show up no matter what. And it doesn't add to the track record. In fact, it kind of takes away from it a little bit. And I will be honest here. Every time I know that there's a message and it's coming through, there's an idea, there's a client conversation that needs to be had, and I don't show up because of no matter what, because I'm not willing no matter what. I'm dealing with stuff, right? It takes away from the no matter what, because it's like, here you go. Why not now? So you got to be mindful of this, because every time that you get this urge, this like, I need to show up for myself, or I need to show up and channel for others, and we will go through channeling for yourself today specifically, and more on the other for others and as a coach in the next modules. But even for yourself, the more you show up no matter what, the more you build that track record. Now, like I said, when you are having, like, I need to channel, there's something coming through, I'm looking for an answer, I know it's right there, I just need to tap in, I just need to let it come through, and you take away from the no matter what, because it's like, okay, well, what about right now? You here it is, do it. And you're like, I don't want to, because I'm not feeling on, I'm not feeling off, I'm not feeling whatever I think I should feel, and I'm not willing to do it. It takes away from the no matter what, so keep that in mind. Now, you're not always going to show up no matter what. Let's be human here, because your human is not always going to be convincible. And sometimes you can put a face on it, and she will be like, yes, let's do this now. And sometimes you're going to give her a snack, and she's going to be like, yeah, okay, let's do this. Sometimes you're going to give her a coffee, she's like, okay, let's channel, all right. Sometimes you're going to give her a bath, your body, right? And she's going to be like, okay, let's do this. But sometimes you're going to do the things and your body's going to be like, hell no, I'm not going to do this at all today. No. Okay, you got to realize that will happen, but you got to also realize that you got to have a balance at first, at least, that it's even. Show up no matter what, don't show up no matter what. At least even. But preferably show up no matter what here and don't show up here. Because the more the no matter what outweighs the conditional, circumstantial power, the more you receive. And the more you receive, the deeper the trust. So the more you receive, the deeper the trust. The receiving part happens when you show up. It does. You got to trust that it does. I will give you an exercise at the end of this module. So there is homework for this one. But when you show up, the channel is there. The channel is waiting for you at all hours of the day. Right now, yesterday, today, tomorrow, right this moment, your channel is wide open and waiting for you to use it at any point, no matter what, whenever, no matter what you're going through, no matter what the human is going through. So the channel is always there. So when you don't show up, you can't blame the channel for not coming through because it's there always. So the more you show up, the more you receive, and the more you receive, the deeper you trust. The more you receive is hinged on how much you show up, because how much you receive is literally determined by how much you choose to show up. And the more frequently you show up, the more you receive. And the more you receive, the deeper you trust, because it's just like, okay, well, it's always there. Every time I tap in, it's always there. It's always coming through for me. It's always there for me. Yes, it is. But the more you show up, the more you receive. And only the more you receive, the deeper the trust. But you can't just skip from, I haven't even shown up yet. I haven't even tried, and I want to trust this thing. It's not going to work that way. It's not going to work that way. It just isn't. You're not going to trust this if you don't show up. So receiving happens no matter what. And you will experience this if you take the assignment and you do it. And I want you to do it before tomorrow. If you're planning on being live here with me on a masterclass, which will start about an hour later than today's. If you're planning on being live with me, with this girl right here. If you're planning on being live with me tomorrow, I want you to do the homework today, tonight, tomorrow morning, at some point before the next masterclass. And even if you can't make it live, try to do the homework before we go live. If you're live with me here now, try to do it before the next live. Okay. So the exercise will be at the end. Let's focus on, okay, you showed up, you made it, you convinced your human. Your human's like, okay, I don't feel like it, but thanks for the face and thanks for the snack. Let's do this thing. Okay, I'm all right now. You show up, you're like, okay, human, thank you for showing up. Human aside, I'm here to receive. Here to receive. You receive. You channel. We will go over the technique for beginners today. Let's bench that for a few moments, because what I want to talk about is the deeper you trust, the clearer that's the part we haven't mentioned yesterday. That's the exciting part that you have not heard until now. This is the next level. So make sure you have the 3 points. We haven't written the third point yet because it's about to be written. So there are 3 things that we covered yesterday. Be willing to show up no matter what. Be willing to receive no matter what, because we're not judging it, we're just receiving. We're channeling. We're not judging, we're not interpreting, we're just receiving. Be willing to receive no matter what, and then be willing to trust no matter what. So today's formulas are, the more I show up, the more I receive. The more I receive, the deeper I trust. The next formula, write it down, number 3. The deeper I trust, the clearer I ... Because there are quite a few things. So let's get into the anatomy of channeling. The anatomy of parapsychology. Okay, this is really exciting. Now, this is a little bit of a coach/mentor side of myself coming through. This is not really channeling. Although the structure for this was channeled last night, for which I'm very grateful because it really put things into perspective for me. But the understanding of these separate points comes from research, comes from deep work, comes from years of research and application on my end as a human, not just as a channel, as a human Katerina who does the thing, who reads the thing, who tries the thing, who teaches the thing, who understands the thing. So, okay, so we're gonna have 8 points here. You ready for this? 8 points. Not all at once. But so we have 3 formulas so far. Number 1, if you haven't written it down, a little review, recap. The more I show up, the more I receive. Number 2, the more I receive, the deeper I trust. Number 3, the deeper I trust, the clearer I ... Now we're gonna have 8 points for this last formula. Okay. The clearer I ... Number 1, 1 out of 8. Channel, obviously. The more I receive, the deeper I trust, the deeper I trust, the clearer I channel. The clearer I channel. Okay, so here's the thing. At first, when you start with your channel, because it's something you haven't really felt the difference of so many times as compared to your own thinking, your human thinking, the first few times you channel, you can't really be in charge of the clarity of it because it is what it is. It comes through however it comes through. It says what it says. It avails what it avails for you to receive, because on this level of receiving, on this level of trust, the clarity will be of a certain grade that might not be the final best grade, okay? It's like, here's the example. Let's imagine you have some dirty water from a dirty stream or a pond or something. And you have this filter, just like basic, very basic filter, like a coffee filter, basically. And you pour it through the coffee filter. And you see some gunk that's, on the filter, and the water comes through. And you take the glass and you lift the filter, throw it away. You look at the water. It's clearer. It's clearer, but it's not really clean. Okay, you're like, okay, that's not enough. So you put it through the water filter that you have in your kitchen, and it comes through and it's clear. But you're still like, yeah, okay, it's clear, but I want to run it through the reverse osmosis filter or whatever that is to like totally clean it up. And now it's really clear. And now it's like drinkable because basically it just revamped the entire water and got rid of all the toxins, right? So that's the clarity process with channeling. That's why the deeper you trust, the clearer you channel. For example, number 1, the clearer you channel. Because the deeper you trust, the less there is mud in the water. The clearer you trust, the clearer the channel. Why? Because you're not adding stuff to it that makes it all murky and confusing. You're not interpreting it. You're not trying to make it mean something. You're not trying to control it. You're not trying to make it say the things you want it to say. You remove this noise with practice. You remove the pollutants from the water. You remove the mud from the water. The deeper you trust, the clearer the channel. So this takes practice, as you would imagine. Now, channel, and this is what we're focusing in this masterclass on, channel is just one thing. So here's some other things. Now, that's not all of them, but some, like just the basic, let's put it this way. Okay, number 2. So number 1, channel. The deeper I trust, the clearer I ... Number 1, channel. Number 2, here, write in parentheses, clear audience. Here, clear audience. The deeper I trust, the clearer I hear, clairaudience. Not really your ears though, but sometimes. So this is channeling that comes through as almost like you can almost hear someone say it, but you don't really hear the sound. You can almost hear someone say it, but you don't really hear their voice. There is no one else around. It's just the thing that you almost overhear. This can also be like slight ringing in your ears, or just like this almost like frequency. Sometimes you're thinking about something and there's this like frequency, like in one ear or in two. It's just like this high pitch, like this, hard to describe. It's like, what is this? Why did it come to me when I was thinking about something very important? It's clairaudience. Okay, so number 2, hear, clairaudience. Number 3, the deeper I trust, the clearer I. Number 3, see, parentheses, clairvoyance, clairvoyance. The deeper I see, clairvoyance. So clairvoyance, as you would imagine, is seeing. Now, seeing is something that happens, the way it happens for me is all I can speak to. But the way that it happens is you don't really go blank and you don't see the world around you anymore. It's just like you see this kind of overlaid. And you don't have to necessarily have your eyes closed. It's just something that you kind of see that's there, even though it's not literally right in front of you. You can tell the difference. Like, here's the bed and here's a bunch of things on it. And here's this thing that I'm seeing, and no matter where I look, it's kind of happening in front of my eyes, but not really my eyes, but like it's playing out. I can see it. Sometimes you see colors in meditation, sometimes you see images. The dreams actually is clairvoyance. Like the dreams you can remember seeing, your dreams, that's part of clairvoyance. Now, I want to take a little break here and just say, if you're going through this and you're going like she's going through some extrasensory superhuman abilities that probably only she has, I got a surprise for you. You have them. We all do. They are not supernatural. They are perfectly human. In fact, all animals have them as well. Well, other than maybe the channeling, because that requires kind of a next level of consciousness and ability to translate the consciousness into human language. Okay, so maybe not the channeling, but the clairaudience, clairvoyance, oh yeah. Dogs, cats, you name it. They see it. They hear it. And we've got more to cover. Okay, so these are natural. And in fact, I've done some extensive study, and there are science institutions, science facilities, science research facilities that for the last 80, 90 years have been studying this as a science. And it is proven, it is confirmed beyond the shadow of the doubt that human beings have these abilities. They are latent. They are not always used. And sometimes you have them happen and you're so freaked out. You're like, well, that must have been a fluke. But it's not. It's a human capacity, human ability. This is real. Okay. So the deeper I trust, the clearer I. 1, channel. 2, hear, clairaudience. 3, see, clairvoyance. 4, think, claircognizance. Now, claircognizance is my deepest connection here. It doesn't mean that it's yours also. It's actually very reliant on the capacities that you have as individual, as a channel, as a soul, and also somewhat on your zodiac mix-up, your astrological chart. So just to give you a little background, my sun is in Gemini. I am naturally better at communicating. I'm naturally more claircognizant because instead of images, although I see those sometimes, instead of hearing, although that happens sometimes, because I develop all my clairs and I explore all of them, because we all have all of them. You don't just have one. You have all of them developed to different levels and more in alignment with you based on who you are. So some will be more aligned, some will be less, but you have them all. Okay, so claircognizance is what I typically get. And so how it happens is I'll have an entire idea. I'll have the entire idea, like the entire conscious thought compressed into a moment of full realization. So I'll be able to see the whole thing, but it's not really seeing, it's not really hearing. It's like this precognition of it. That, like a download. That's the best way to describe it. Like a download. You know, once it's downloaded into the computer, right? You can just click it and open it and you see the whole thing. It's not like 1%, here's the 2%, it's like the whole thing, right? But it gets downloaded like this. So that's clear cognizance. Full, complete ideas, full, complete consciousness being revealed, and all of a sudden you just know. Okay. The deeper I trust, the clearer I channel, hear, clear audience, see, clairvoyance, think, clear cognizance. 5, emphasize, clear sentience. Clear sentience. You don't need to know how to spell it. You can just feel. You can just write empathize. Emphasize. This one is difficult on the spelling, I will tell you that much. But number 5, emphasize. So empath abilities. If you're an empath, that's what you do already. Like that's every time you're around someone and you feel their feelings. Every time you're around someone and they're going through something really exciting and then you just get excited and they're like, you're almost more excited than I am about this. Like, how is this possible? When they feel the pain, you feel their pain. When they feel the suffering, you feel their suffering. When they feel the feelings, you feel their feelings. If you're very much heavy on the feel, I am too. So I would say my rate is empath, clear cognizant, 2 strongest. Seeing, I do, and I have, but it's not my favorite because it's a little overwhelming for me. Because once I start seeing it, it doesn't go away until it's basically played out. So mediumship is not something I do professionally for that reason, because although I have that capability and I keep developing it, it's just not my favorite, and I don't want to do that for the clients. I can hardly handle it for myself, to be honest. It's not something I enjoy. It takes too much out of me because I can't switch it off. I can still see the real world, so to speak, but it's there until it's not. And I don't like that. I have not figured that out. I have not advanced enough to feel like I'm in charge when it happens. I still don't feel in charge, so I don't do that professionally. But mediumship, seeing things, that's clairvoyance. Clear cognizance, sometimes I have had a few very vivid experiences. I have even had an experience one time when an ascended master that I work with, which is this kind of energetic being that I channel, spoke to me through the radio. Just the music stopped, my iTunes stopped. There was radio waves, like scattered radio waves. And I was like, what the hell is going on? This is iTunes. This is not the radio. This can't be happening. I'm playing a specific song. And it was like, waves, and then this voice. And I knew exactly who that was. And I was just like paralyzed. I was driving. I was like, what is happening? And then it went back to music. So this is my strongest experience with clairaudience to this day. And sometimes it will happen, but again, I don't feel like I am a very much expert in that, although I am very familiar with that. So, it's July 5th and it's 555 where I am. How exciting. Okay, and we're on number 5, empathize. So empathize is something that, again, you feel as an empath. So being an empath is clairsentience, basically. The fancy word for being an empath. Okay, so we've got the deeper I trust, the clearer I channel, hear, clairaudience, see, clairvoyance, think, clear cognizance, emphasize. I'm not going to say feel, because you feel what you feel as a human. But when you feel other people's feelings, that's not really your feelings. So here we go. Number 6, affect mind. I'm looking around for something. I'm looking around for evidence. Affect mind over matter. And I'm sure some of you who have been in my world for a while have seen this, but for those of you who haven't, I have something to show you. So hold on 1 second. Okay, some noise, some walking away, some coming back. Okay. This is what I mean. This is what I mean. And actually we have Nicole here who has watched one of my masterclasses previously and has done it. So Nicole, this is your shout out. So this is something that is part of those gifts. Now, what am I showing you exactly? I'm showing you bent cutlery. Who bent it? Me. How's for that one? Right, so some of these pieces are broken off. Oops, some of them just fell out. I'm gonna show you a few more and then we're gonna proceed. So this one, look at this one. I think this is like the highlight, to be honest. You cannot do that with strength. You can try. Even if you have pretty good arm strength, you can't do that with strength. You can do that with the power of your mind. It's called telekinesis. Now, some people call it psychokinesis as well. Psychokinesis is scientifically more accurate. Why? Because you're not really affecting it with your body over distance. That's not the it. Your body is a vessel for this power, but it's your mind. It's your psyche. Mind over matter. The clearer eye, exact mind over matter is the way to put it. The clearer eye, exact mind over matter. Because your awareness of this power and your awareness that your mind, your consciousness can disintegrate metal, can change the molecular structure of a physical object, your awareness and application of this awareness allows you to make metal soft. How do you think it's done? With great force? No. With very little force, actually almost none at all. It's like putty. It just happens. Now, how I was taught this is how I'm teaching you this masterclass. Because I showed up to this facility that has been studying psi, PSI. Psi, this is all this phenomena. This is all what we're talking about today, all the 8 things I mentioned. Actually, not 8, we have a few more. But the psi phenomena, they study all the time, full time, all the time, continuously. And they have determined that this is a teachable thing. And I was like, sign me right up. I went there, showed up, was super excited. I was like, yes, I'm gonna do this one. They did several exercises in different realms of this psi, right? But the one I was looking forward was this. I was like, I want to learn how to bend the spoons. I want to learn how to bend the metal. I want to learn how to exact mind over matter. And when they showed me, and all the people in the room started doing it like wildfire. Like people weren't even trying. They were just like starting to do it. And then they had the bent spoons and the bent forks and the bent knives, right? All of this. As soon as that started happening, I had this, sorry guys, I keep messing with my hair. I just wanted to look right so my human does not get distracted by it. That's always why I do this, because it gets distracting and then I can't. Okay. Human, get it together. So I showed up. I wanted to learn it. I wanted to learn it more than anyone else in the room. I was like, these people don't even care. I'm going to learn it. I'm going to teach it to others. I will carry this gift forever. I will share it with others. I want to know this. I want to do this. I want to know this. I want to do this. I want to be successful. I want to do this so badly, so badly, so badly. And I'm sitting there with this, so bad, I want to do this so badly. And everyone's bending the spoons and I'm trying so hard and it's not freaking working. And there's everyone doing this. And this old physics professor, he's like in his late 70s. Physics, not parapsychology professor, physics professor that still teaches in a full-on university with a very academically acclaimed university, Duke University of North Carolina. He's still a professor there. So he's teaching this method, a physicist, a legitimate physicist. And he's like, you got to trust that you can do this. You got to trust. And everyone's like, boom, boom. And I'm like, what is wrong with me? I want this. They don't even care. They're here for entertainment. They're like, haha, I just bent the spoon. That's so funny. And I'm like, it's not funny. I want to do this so badly. And he comes up to me, because everyone has done it in the room at this point. And I'm sitting there like on the verge of tears. And he comes up to me and he says, listen, you really want to do this thing, don't you? And I was like, yes. He's like, I can see that. And I was like, okay. He's like, that's the problem. And I was like, how? He's like, because you are trying too hard. It doesn't happen through trying. You can't try your way into doing it. And I was like, well, why not? He's like, because when you're trying, you don't believe it's possible. And every time you try and go like, is it going to happen this time? It's not, because you don't believe that it can. And so you want it to surprise you. But it's not going to. It's just going to confirm what you already believe. So in order to do this, you got to believe it, and it got to be natural. It's got to be easy. It's got to be something that you trust completely, and it just happens. Because it has happened so many times. It's happening all around you. Look around you. Everyone's doing it. It's easy. It's not that hard. You can do this. But you got to believe that you can. And I just had this, I closed my eyes and I had this voice. Clairaudience this time, for real. Because it was like, I heard a phrase, this voice. And this phrase was not even a phrase, it was just one word: allow, 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 allow. I'm like, oh, allow, that's right, allow. I allow the spoon to bend, and I have still my eyes closed, and I'm not even trying. And I just go, and it just goes so soft. It just goes like so all the way down. I'm like, what? And I grab another one, and I'm like, I allow, and I start twisting it, and it just curls, and I'm like, what? I'm like, okay, I allow, and I grab another one, and another one, and another, and then they have this bucket of extra spoons, and I go in and grab the bucket, and I start bending every single spoon. I'm like, I'm never gonna lose this. I'm gonna bend as many as I can right now, so I can anchor it in, so I can never forget this. I allow, over and over and over again. I got home, I bent all the spoons, all the forks, all the knives that I had in my drawers. Basically left myself with no silverware because I wanted to anchor it in. It was a 4-hour drive back. I had a skeptical boyfriend who, even though he did it once, couldn't do it again because then he got into his head, didn't believe it. He thought it was fake spoons, fake knives. I'm like, no way. We drove home and I went to the kitchen. I didn't even tell him anything. I was like, look at that. Have I been using fake spoons and knives for the last 5 years? I don't think so. Because look. And it was just so, wow, next level. And it was that's the one, this one, that's the kind of I'm talking about. That's it. I mean, this is pretty complex. This is hard, these ones, but it's not. But you got to be in that state. I can get into that state right now. I can maybe unbend one of them or maybe break them. Let's see what happens. Okay. Okay, it's using a little bit of force. But one thing I will tell you is that the part that is bending gets very hot. It's hot when I touch it. So it gets soft. And yes, I'm using my hands, but if I was using my strength, you guys, I would be having veins pop out of my... Right there. Okay, so just broke that one. It's once you know, it never goes away until you do it, unless you do it in a controlled environment and never try it again and believe that it was just part of the room and part of the magic. Then you probably can't. But if you do it and you do it and you do it and then you just do it. Okay, so this is mind over matter. Okay, so the deeper I trust, the clearer I affect mind over matter. That was number 6, telekinesis or psychokinesis, a better word for it. So Nicole says it was awesome. Nicole did it. Nicole watched my previous masterclass, and just from watching the masterclass, she was able to do it. So that's the power you never get to lose. Ashley says, I'd love to learn. Yes. Okay, so number 7, communicate, telepathy. The deeper I trust, the clearer I communicate. Telepathy. What do you mean? Reading other people's thoughts? Yes, very much so. Or a person's telling you a lie and you know they're lying. Or a A person's telling you an idea and you're so clicking with it. You're like, I see where you're going with this. Or a person's talking to you and you complete their sentences. Telepathy happens naturally in connected, deep, soulful relationships. You will notice that when you're dating someone who feels like a soulmate or there's a very deep connection, you can basically complete their sentences, you can read their thoughts, you know what they're thinking, you know what they're feeling. There's empathy going on, emphasizing, clear sentience, there is the telepathy happening, clear communication. You might get ideas about them, you might get things about them that they don't know because you're so connected and you're receiving. And that's a very feminine energy thing. You're receiving. Okay, so, but telepathy is really great when it comes to working with your clients. Yeah, because you can tell where they're going with something, or you're able to reply to them before they even ask the question. And you're like, I just know what you would be asking here. So number 7 is communicate. The last one, I promise you guys, the last one, because it's a lot, but it's a lot, and all of it you have. And all of that gets to be activated through this process that we call channeling. All of this, you get to receive, you get to tap into all these senses that are subdued when you're overly conscious and overly human and overly reliant on what's right in front of you. So the last one is number 8. The deeper I trust, the clearer I know, which is precognition. Now, precognition is a realm that is difficult, even for me. And I say this because I honestly am I'm still on the journey towards it, and I'm yet to reach a point of gratitude and appreciation for it. Because in my case, precognition, anytime I've seen an event before it happened, has been something I cannot do anything about. And I know it well in advance, where it's torturous enough to know because you can't do anything about it. And I cannot say that I'm a fan. I'm working on it because I know that there's a place and there's a reason for all of our gifts. And the more we develop them, the more they show themselves, and the more sometimes it takes patience and courage and compassion and acceptance to appreciate them for what they are, without sometimes having much to do about them other than develop them if you so desire. So precognition is difficult for me, because precognition is you seeing something before it happens. Now, here's a clear distinction. As a tarot reader, as a psychic coach, I do not go into realm of future, because the future, I believe, is something that you can create, you get to create. But sometimes there are events that have been co-created with higher level energy consent from everyone involved. Yourself, others, Mother Nature, events, global events, coincidences, alignments, correspondences, everything collides. And there's something that is inevitable that will happen. Now, not only do I not try to predict it, but I don't like when it happens, because like I said, usually I can't do anything about it. And this awareness is like, thanks, but I'd almost rather find out when it happens so I don't have to suffer for longer. Does that make sense? But precognition is one of these senses. It's something that we get access to sometimes. It doesn't happen often. It's I would say the least controlled, because you can't see future on demand, but sometimes you can tap into what's meant to happen no matter what. And then you get exposed to it before it happens. And like I said, for me, it's not my favorite. It's not my favorite on the menu because it has brought me a lot of sorrow. And I have yet to master like the it factor of this gift, but it's part of them. And in fact, this institute, this research center, they're called, if you want to look them up, they're called Rhine Research Center, R-H-I-N-E, Rhine Research Center. They are in North Carolina. They used to be part of the Duke University of North Carolina, and they are now an independent nonprofit science organization. So their inquisition, their study of precognition is inconclusive, just like near-death experiences. It's just something where you kind of leave a little bit, but then you're still kind of here a little bit, and there's this in-between experience. We're not covering NDAs in this, because although it's part of it, it's not really something you tap in. It's something that happens in extraordinary circumstances sometimes. Okay, so it's kind of the last resort to bring your soul into like, here's what's happening and here's your human. Okay. Do you want to stay or do you want to? So we will not go into. It's too complex for the scope of this masterclass. But precognition, I want you to be aware of this. And if you've seen events before they happen, and you've seen the things exactly as they happen, and you've known that something's about to happen, and maybe you haven't seen it, but you just know it, and you've experienced that, that's precognition. And if you have beaten yourself up for not being able to change anything or do anything about it, that's usually part of precognition. So don't beat yourself up. It's not usually shown to you so you can do something about it. It's just shown to you because you have the capacity to see it before it happens. That's as far as I understand it myself. So we have 8 things that happen. The deeper you trust, the clearer you channel, the clearer you hear, the clearer you see, the clearer you think, the clearer you emphasize, the clearer you affect mind over matter, the clearer you communicate, and the clearer you know. All of these extrasensory, but very human, not superhuman, regular human. This is regular human abilities that regular humans have forgotten, but we're not regular humans. We're here and we are remembering them. And we will teach other humans that desire to do so. And that's the only thing I ask. If you master this and you know this and someone asks you, I'm not asking you to do this for free. This can be part of your work. But if someone goes like, I need to learn this, I want to learn this with you, you teach them. That's what I want you to do. You teach them, okay? However that looks, whatever the exchange is, that's not my business. My business is to tell you, I want you to teach this once you know how this works. Okay, so this is a lot of information. This is a lot to integrate. I said this was going to be an intense masterclass. I'm not here to waste your time. This is intense. And there's questions coming in and comments, so I will read those shortly, but not yet. While I have your attention, while your mind is going poop, I want to hold you here, your attention for one more moment. And I want you to tell you the exercise. I want to tell you the exercise, the homework, the exercise. The exercise is channeling. Ta-da! Channeling. Okay, so what do you do? What do you do? You decide that you're going to show up for it. And you decide that you're going to show up for it before the next module drops, which is before 6 p.m. EST. In the next 24 hours, it's 6:15 right now. I usually start a little bit late. So you have 24 hours from now to complete this exercise. So decide that you're going to show up within the next 24 hours. That's one. Part 1. Willingness to show up. Part 2. Willingness to receive. Receive what? You don't know. I don't know. You show up. You appease your human enough to do it. You're like, okay, human, I'm going to put a candle in there. I'm going to put some flowers. I'm going to pour myself a cup of coffee, maybe a glass of wine. Hey, wine does not limit your channeling abilities. In fact, it might get your human to relax a little bit and just tap in. I would not recommend it. I would also not recommend it because if you don't drink, I perfectly respect that. And I go through extensive periods of time when I don't drink either. So it doesn't matter. But if that's something you feel like you might want to do, then there is no harm in that. In fact, maybe a little bit of a boost. Coffee can do this too. Coffee triggers your senses. So your mind human is alert, but your channel gets to happen while the human is alert. So this works too. You can just do a candle. You can listen to some nice music. You can put some flowers in. You can put a face on. You can take yourself. You can feed yourself first. You can take a bath. Whatever works. Just get your human to show up and be willing to receive. Which means you set the human apart. Part 2 is okay, human. Thanks. Here's your treat. Thank you. I'm receiving now. So what you're going to do is you're going to grab a notebook. You're going to get a pen. Or a pencil. Doesn't make a difference. Or a piece of paper. Whatever. And you're going to start receiving. You're going to tell yourself, I receive. Now I receive. I trust my channel. I'm here. I showed up. I'm here to receive. I trust my channel. Let's go. And you're going to start writing whatever comes to you. You're not going to think about it. You're not going to read it. You're not going to analyze it. You're not going to investigate it. You're not going to try to make sense of it. You're not going to be like, okay, this word, what's the next word? What's the full sentence here? You're not going to do this. You're going to write whatever comes through. If it's a word, if it's a letter, if it's a bunch of squigglies, if it's some crazy sentences, if it's a poem, if it's some just strange drawings, hey, whatever. Don't judge it. Write. And don't think about it. Don't interpret it. Don't look at it. You're receiving. You're not judging. You're grateful that you showed up and you're capable of receiving. Now you're just receiving. There is no interpretation. There is no judgment. But Katerina, how do you lead this masterclass? And how do you channel and make sense of it at the same time? Trust me, it takes practice, because you've seen me, even in this part of masterclass alone, switch between the roles, where I'm relaying my human experience to you, when I'm going through the structure, when I'm keeping the track, when I'm making I'm here. And my channel is too. And we are coexisting. We are making this work together. It takes practice. It takes work. This is not going to be your first exercise. I just don't have that expectation. Because it's going to overwhelm you, and then you're going to feel like you failed. And you can't fail, because this is not a test. This is not a job interview. This is not a first date. This is you channeling, you receiving. And receiving means you're not judging. You're not interpreting. You're not trying to make sense of it. You're not trying to justify it. You're not trying to you're not trying to make it anything that it isn't, or it is. You're not even noticing what it is yet. So you write. Whatever. For as long as it takes. You're human. The crazy part. Your human might be having thoughts in the meanwhile. Like, I had pretty good lunch, but what's for dinner now? Oh, there's this show on Netflix that I wanted to check out. Oh, and yesterday, I didn't take notes from that call, but tomorrow I have another call coming up with someone else. And then at 5 p.m., I gotta make sure that I pick up the laundry from the cleaners. What? You still write. You can still channel. If your human is doing this, let it. Actually, that's not bad, because that way you're thinking about something, your human's not going to get interfered or get involved with trying to interpret what it is that's coming through. It has thoughts. It has things to entertain itself with. It has busy work. It has ideas, right? You're channeling. So if your human mind is like, what's for dinner? Oh, maybe another glass of wine after this would be also nice. Oh, maybe I should work out tomorrow morning. Okay, all of that doesn't matter. Let it do it. Let the human do it. It's all right. You can still channel. You can still channel, because your human mind is actually not interfering with the channeling, which is pretty great. Have I channeled this way? Yes, many times, especially starting out. My human's occupied with something and I'm just sitting there channeling. I have gotten to a point where I don't even pay attention. Like I don't even know. Like I don't even know what I'm spelling out. Now is the time when I want to cover this question. So someone asked the question yesterday. Someone asked the question and said, I believe it was my friend Lisa. Lisa asked, how do you trust that it's coming from a good source? There is no other source. There is no other source. The dark source or the evil source, it's the creation of the same source that we all came from. If you go into studying tarot with me, you will learn that the devil is an archetype that only exists in our consciousness. Because it's the polarity of human experience that makes the good and evil. There is no such thing. Right or wrong, events that humans experience, events that we perceive, the things we feel, how we feel them, how we are as humans, our human nature, our human condition, that doesn't exist anywhere else in the universe. That doesn't exist anywhere else. There is no good and evil anywhere else. There is no male and female anywhere else. There is no light and dark anywhere else, not the way we understand it, not the duality we have being human. That doesn't exist anywhere else. So it always comes from the source that is your soul. There is no other source. There is no other source of you. All your human archetypes, all your shadows, all the devil, all the death, all the whatever cards in tarot that sounds scary. It's all part of your consciousness, your human consciousness. But outside of your human consciousness, it doesn't exist. Who created devil? According to religious lore, who created devil? God did. Okay, well, if God created devil, then how can devil be stronger than God? He can't be, because he is a creation, and so is everything else. So how can the devil be the source? Cannot. How can dark, evil things be the source? They aren't. There is no such thing. Everything is creation. So you're connecting to the creator. Now, is your channel the creator? No. Your channel is connected to all that is, and the creator that created everything. Now, creator is not necessarily a persona there. It's just like the principle, the creation of everything. That's your channel connected straight to that. To everything that is, to all the knowledge, to all the tools, to everything, all the wisdom, all the ideas, all the thoughts, all the consciousness, everything that exists in the universe, your channel is connected to. Beyond good and evil, beyond dark and light, beyond human, beyond living and dead, beyond being alive as a human and being dead as a human, beyond those concepts, connected to everything. So that's your channel. It's not connected to some weird magic. That's not what we're here for. This is everyone. Everyone has a channel. Everyone's channel is connected to their own soul. There is no other channel. There is none. There is no channel that's connected to the darkness. Now, if you believe that, and this is a whole another realm. We're not going there. This is not the truth. This is something that you can think up. Yes, maybe. But is it the truth of how things are as they are from the moment you're born? No. The only truth is you have a channel because you were born with one, and your channel is your soul. It's not a random loophole connecting to God knows what. It's your soul, and you can trust that. It's not good or evil. It's not bad or good or dark or light. It's everything. Everything. Beyond the duality of how we define things as humans. For real. Because your channel is not shaped by your human. So if your human believes in demons, that does not affect your channel. If your human believes in dark magic, that does not affect your channel. If your human doesn't believe in magic, that does not affect your channel. Your channel is there no matter what. You have these abilities as a human being no matter what. Clairaudience, clairsentience, claircognizance, affecting mind over matter, telepathy, channeling, precognition, all of that. That's part of being human. That comes with a package. It's not a bonus. It's not an extra part that you have to buy separately. It's included. It's like hidden settings on your phone where you're like, I didn't even know this existed. I've never used this. I didn't even know my phone could do this. That's exactly how it is. Okay, so the exercise. Back to the exercise. You show up. You get your human to show up. Number one. Okay, one step, cross it out. Your human showed up. Okay, thanks, human. Here's your snack. Good job. Okay, now move aside. I'm receiving. Okay, receiving. Receiving what? I don't care. I'm not going to interpret it. I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to try to understand. I'm just going to write it down. The human mind goes like, oh, dinner time and another glass of wine and maybe a bubble bath. And you're like, yeah. Okay, good. Yeah, we'll do that. You just keep writing whatever comes through. Not what you're thinking, but whatever is coming through. You just keep writing. You keep writing until when? Until it's the stopping point. I cannot tell you when that will be. That's very individual. That's very individual in the channeling that you're receiving. So it might be an hour, it might be 15 minutes, it might be 1 minute. You wrote something, you're like, okay, that's it. That's it. Now, what you're going to do, this is the most important step other than showing up, because that's definitely the most important one, because without that, nothing happens. Okay, the second most important step is that you close it down, put it away, get up and go do something else. Go entertain the human now. Go do whatever. Go have that dinner or take that bubble or whatever it is. Watch that Netflix show. Do some more work. Whatever it is. Go work out. It doesn't matter. Just when you have come to a stopping point, like this is it. It's a stopping point. Close it. Set it aside. Forget about it. Just forget about it. Don't read it. Don't read it. Don't you look at it. Don't you try to understand what it is. Just set it aside. Get up. Go do something else. Go do something else. Just go do something else, okay? Just whatever. Literally whatever. Mindful, mindless, productive, non-productive, doesn't matter. As long as it's not trying to read and understand what you just channeled. You got to give it some space. Because when we channel and then we immediately try to interpret it with our human cognizance, it takes away from the channel. And I learned this early practicing channeling, because I would be so curious. I'm like, what did I write? What came through? And I would be like reading it, trying to understand it, trying to comprehend it. And then next time I would channel, I would be so inclined to just kind of start interpreting a little bit while I'm channeling. And then I would get in my head and my channel would be saying stuff that is mean. And I'm like, this can't be my channel. This is crazy. And then I'm like, oh, it's not my channel. It's my ego. I'm just now pretending that I'm channeling, and it's just my human thoughts telling me what I'm doing wrong. Yeah, that's not the channel. So one way to tell that you're not really channeling is if some dark stuff starts coming through. Because guess what? The devil, as an archetype, lives in your ego, does not live in your soul, lives in your ego, in your human ego. This is good, this is bad. This is light, this is dark. This is man, this is woman. This is split. Good, bad. Right, wrong. The channel doesn't care. The channel doesn't have these human thoughts. The channel gives you the absolute wisdom, absolute truth. As soon as you start judging yourself, that's not channeling. That's you writing your ego stuff. Oh, I should have done laundry yesterday, and I should have been more nice, and I should have showed up for this thing that I promised. That's not your channel. Your channel doesn't think like that. Your channel could care less. Your channel is only aware of everything in the now, not what your human is concerned with. It can speak to your human. It can provide assurance to your human. It can give you ideas. It can be there for you, but it's not human. It doesn't think like a human because it's your channel. And your human thinks like a human, but your channel does not. Because your channel exists even after the human. Your soul continues on even after the human. And your soul does not have human concerns once you stop being human. I promise you that as a medium. Your soul does not have human concerns once you stop being a human. It's no longer relevant. It just isn't. So your human can think the human thoughts. And if your human is pretending like it's being a channel and it's telling you a bunch of crap, like your ego, your mind is like, you should have done laundry. Bad girl. Like, that's not your channel. It's just not. You should make $50,000 by the end of the month. That's not your channel. That's your ego. You should have done more launches and your business would be more successful. That's not your channel. Your channel wouldn't say that because your channel doesn't care about any of that. Cares about you, yes. Can give you brilliant ideas, yes, but it's not going to beat you up for being human on your human journey. It just doesn't have that capacity. But your human will do that. Your ego will do that. So if it sounds like it's coming from the devil, then you know it's not coming from your channel. You know it's coming from right there. If it sounds like it's coming from your mother and she's giving you a hard time for not doing whatever it is that you were supposed to do, it's not coming from your channel. It's coming from right here. Now, something that we study very in depth in my tarot course are these archetypes. The devil, the death, the empress, the mother, the emperor, the father, the lovers, the high priestess, the hierophant, so many of them. The fool, the star, I can go on. There's a lot of them. When you understand the archetypes, you can understand your ego. And that is the biggest freaking clue, because your ego will embody archetypes in order to protect the wholeness. And it will embody singular archetypes oftentimes, like very masculine energy, very emperor energy, or sometimes like very empress energy, very emotional, very feelings oriented, but then also very crazy and very like unhinged. Or it will embody the high priestess archetype. I just want to channel. I just want to channel. I'm channeling all day, every day. Or sometimes the chariot, which is the module we're actually covering tonight, which is much like a coach. You put yourself together. You got the masculine, you got the feminine, you got the above, you got the below, you got your spirit, you got your soul, you got everything together, and now you move. And now this carriage propels you forward. So the chariot. So when we look at the archetypes in tarot, here's how it can help channeling. First of all, when you're doing a reading for someone, it can activate the channel, or for yourself. But second, when you understand the archetypes, when it's not your channel, you can kind of know where it's coming from. Oh, it's my offset masculine energy speaking. Oh, it's my unbalanced feminine energy speaking. Oh, it's the old programming coming through. Oh, that sounds like the devil. Yep, that's everything that I've selected to be bad is now compounding into this devil, and now it's spewing stuff that's clearly bad. That's your archetype, that's your ego. So when you understand the archetypes, you have the awareness to say, okay, this is channeling, and this is coming from my ego, and this is where in the ego it's coming from. So let's look at that. So this is very next level. The tarot course is something that's available. Another thing that's available that I want to announce a little deeper on this module. And by the way, I just want to let you know, you got the homework, you got the journaling that we did today, the definitions, right? The homework is, number 1, show up, convince the human to. Number 2, receive, let the human focus on some other thoughts, entertain ideas of more snacks or whatever next distraction. Let it do that while you journal, while you write, while you let it come through. It's called automatic writing. So that's 2. Number 3, most important part, close it, set it aside, walk away, do something else immediately after you've come to the finishing point. Now, then, in a few hours after you do something else, maybe sleep on it, then you can go through it and read it. And then you can share it in this group. I want you to. I want you to. If you feel comfortable, I want you to. Even if you don't really feel comfortable, just do it. It's a safe space. I promise, if there's a person part of this experience who's going to judge your channeling, I'm going to kick them out, because that is not the place. That is not the place. Okay, so you are safe here to share your experience, your first experience channeling. If this is not your first experience, whatever number it is, please still show up and do the homework and share. There's several of my paying clients on here. My friends, this applies to you as well, especially to you, because I hold you to a higher standard than I do everyone else, because you're next level and you're doing this work with me on the next level. So let's be next level and let's freaking do this, okay? I'm going to do this myself. I'm going to post. Don't compare yours to mine. Do not. I will do exactly what I assigned to you, and I will walk away from it and I will share it later, but do not compare yours to mine. You're just starting, or you're refining and going deeper. I have been doing this for years. And in fact, this is the foundation of my business. This is what I do with my clients. This is what I do every time I show up. This is what I do every time I go live. This is everything for me. Okay, so don't compare. But I will do this so that we do this together. Okay, so this is the homework. Now, if you're complete, if you're like, this is a lot, enough, I'm going to integrate, do the homework. See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow. Okay. If you're complete, you're complete. I will see you tomorrow. I do want to go into the hybrid coaching intensive for channeling that I'm running starting on July 22nd. So this is an 8-day program. Now we have the 8 definitions. So this is going to be the units. Channeling, clear audience, clairvoyance, hear, clairaudience, see, clairvoyance, think, claircognizance, emphasize, clairsentience, affect mind over matter, telekinesis or psychokinesis, communication, telepathy, and knowing, precognition. Okay, we were the 8 modules within the hybrid coaching container. These are the modules. So we will, every day, we will cover a new method of channeling, a new ability that you have latent within you. So this is going to be the modules. The one-on-one coaching component will go into your specific gifts and will give you specific exercises to do so you deepen your channel. We will go into what do you want to use your channel for? Is it yourself? Is it your clients? Is it coaching? Is it all the three things? How would you like to use it? Would you like to do one-on-one readings? Would you like to read when you're live? Would you like to channel when you're live? Channel your lives. Would you like to channel your messages, your writing? Would you like to channel your business programs? This is huge. All of my business programs are channeled. In fact, the tarot course that I'm leading right now, every single module is channeled. In addition to the depth of knowledge and understanding that I have built through learning, practice, refinement, application. But everything I do is channeled. So if you want to do it on the level that I'm doing it on, you can. And is 8 days going to set you up to do this? Yes. I have full confidence in this, but it's going to be an intense 8 days. So the 8 modules, part of this hybrid coaching experience, the 8 modules, the 8 units are going to be the 8 things that we went over today. That's the teaching modules. These get dropped every single day for 8 days. Now, every single day for 8 days, we're having our one-on-one private coaching experience. When I'm teaching you, where I'm teaching you and guiding you and giving you exercises and giving you practice for the types of channeling you want to do and what for. And I'm preparing you to do it and do it professionally and do it very next level and allow you to calibrate to where I am with my channeling through me and then keep it. So this is the next level of exchange. I can teach you here, and I am. But I can get you to where I am through calibration quickly. It doesn't take a lot of time. But it's an investment of your time, your energy, your presence, your commitment, your willingness to do the work, and it's a financial investment. It's $888. There are payment plans available. But what I want to say is that there's going to be a group coaching component as well. So that's modules, the 8 modules, the 8 in-depth subjects we've just covered. There's the one-on-one component of private coaching every single day for 8 days, and there's the group component. And every single day you're going to have group exercises as well, where you get to practice with other members of this experience. You get to read for each other, you get to channel for each other, you get to do things together as a group, and you get to do things separately that involve each other. This is very, very important, because in a controlled environment like this, where everyone's safe and everything is safe and it's all just practice and everyone is learning and everyone's excited, it's just like with the spoons, which in fact will be part of it. Yes, it will be. Yes, every single person who does this will walk away knowing how to do this, for sure. That's just one of the, just one of the things though, just one of the things. But the one-on-one, the education components, the group units, right? 8 units, 8 things we covered today, in depth, explored in depth every single day of this experience, and the group component where you work as a group. There are assignments that are, in addition to our one-on-one work, that are dropped for every single participant. And they're structured in the varieties of ways to use the channeling, and how to channel for other people, and how to channel for people you don't know, and how to allow others to channel for you, and how to receive the channeling while also trusting your own channel about it. So if someone channels for you, how do you receive that? With the feedback from your channel to determine if something is true for you, if something is a good takeaway, or if there's something that's just there, but it's not something you need to necessarily take. So this is very, very deep work, very, very complex. There are many layers happening in this 8-day hybrid channeling coaching container. Okay, so it's 888. Another thing that we will go into at the last module, which is not tomorrow but the day after, is channeling and coaching. So I have a bundle for channeling and coaching, which is 1555, and I have another bundle that is channeling, coaching, and the tarot course, which is 2555. I've listed these offers in an announcement section so you can review them. So if you combine the intensive with the Channel Mentor Coach program, which is a 3-week private coaching container, it's 1555. And there are payment plans as low as $155.50 a month for 10 months. If you combine the tarot course and the channel mentor coach and the intensive, you basically save $1,666. It's a huge deal. And there are payment plans for that too. They can be as low as $2,555 or $255.50 per month for 10 months. Okay, I just wanted to review these. But if you want to go deeper with channeling for yourself, channeling for others, tomorrow will be all about channeling for others, but channeling for yourself, channeling for others, channeling as a coaching client, as a coach to your clients, as a reader, as a professional reader, as someone who does this professionally, does this as part of your coaching business, does this as part of your business in general, does this for your business, on your business, in your personal life, for other people, for yourself, all the way around. When you show up in your content, channeling live, channeling when you write, channeling when you create poetry, channeling when you create sales offers, channeling when you create art, channeling when you create performances, channeling when you craft your stories. Everything. Channeling in everything. The intensive is designed specifically for that. It is very individual because a huge part of it is the private coaching that happens for 8 days straight. So it will be based on what you want to do with channeling, very much so. But the group coaching and the educational components, they are no matter what. So there will also be group assignments that everyone gets to do. There's a program outline for those, okay? And there are 8 teaching modules, which is the 8 things we discussed. So everything you need to know about channeling, clairsentience, clairaudience, all the things. Bending the spoons, which is just part of it. Telepathy, all the things. Even precognition, we will go deeper into that than I'm capable of in this masterclass. So if that's where you want to focus, this intensive is for you. Now it's, like I said, 888. There are payment plans available. The payment plans can be as low as $111 per month for 8 months. So on this note, my friends, thank you so much for being here. If you have any questions, let me know. You can always reach out and ask. There's never any pressure. If you just want to explore some more information about something that you heard, there's never any pressure. If you ask me about one of these offers, I will not follow up and see if you bought it yet. That's just not who I am. So if you have any questions, you can ask. There is no strings attached to questions or inquiries or anything like that. That's not what I stand for in my business. So if you have any questions at all, feel free to ask. And I will see you tomorrow at 6 p.m. EST for day number 2. We will go into channeling for others. And there will be an exercise for that as well. Okay? So, my friends, I'm sending you so much love. So much love. And I'm so excited to be here with you. This went on for longer than I initially expected. I believe we're close to 2 hours now. Is that right? Wow. Okay, well, I will see you guys tomorrow. We've covered a lot of ground today. Do not forget to do your homework exercise. I will post it as a separate post. I will try to do it as soon as possible. Do it. Do it in the next 24 hours. Don't skate by. Don't skip it. Don't save it for later, for the next week. No. And share it here. When you do it, when you give yourself some time, the last part, remember, is step away, go do something else. Don't look at it, don't read it, don't try to interpret it until later. When that later occurs, take a picture, post it here. Let us see it. It's okay. No one's going to judge you. And if they are, I will kick their ass. I promise you. For real. Because this is not the place. This is not the place for judgment. So let me catch up with the comments for a second. Okay, for me, it's definitely the clear I see. My mom is an artist. She channels incredible paintings, yes. And she sees them, and she doesn't even know all the parts, but she just sees. It's incredible. Her channeled works are insane. So, Shelly, yes, love to learn. Ashley, Right as you said that, a hummingbird flew to me for about 5 seconds. Oh my goodness. A hummingbird is a very psychic totem. I suggest you look that up. It's a sign. It's a messenger. Just Google it. Hummingbird, spirit, sign. Hummingbird, spirit totem. Hummingbird, spiritual meaning. Whatever you wish. Look it up. You're going to be blown away. Nicole McDavid says, what if you feel like something is going to happen before it does? You don't know what it's going to be though until it does. Well, that's precognition. You're just not getting the full picture, but you know something is. So that's part of precognition for sure. Because when it's about to happen and you know you can't really stop it or change it, but it's going to happen, but you become aware of it before it does, that's precognition. So Shalene says, so fascinating. Ashley says, beach is my escape for my human. That's great. So Shelly said, I'm signed up with Katerina and it's worth every penny. Invest in yourself. Oh, thank you so much, my love. Yeah, Shelly is my private coaching client and she's in several programs with me as well. So I love you so much, Shelly. Thank you so much for saying that. That's extremely kind. Bye, beautiful. See you soon for the chariot. So yes, Shelly's in the tarot course, so we have the chariot tonight. We've had the lovers today already. That was something else. Okay, so Ashley said, great first day. Thank you for the amazing exchange. You are so welcome. Thank you so much for being here and investing in yourself, investing this time in yourself. Rose says, thank you for today. Good day to all. Good stuff. Thank you so much. So happy that you're here. Shelly said, be teachable. Bye, ladies. Much love. Oh, I like that. Okay, so on this note, I'm going to jump off and I will see you guys tomorrow at 6 p.m. EST. If you have any questions, reach out. And otherwise, do the homework. If you do one thing, do the homework. See ya.